The UCCS track and field teams competing at the Colorado College Invitational. Alexa Urban normally runs the 800, but in this meet, she runs the 400 and wins in a time of 58.82. Sister Mackenzie Urban wins the 800. We'll have more on them later in the show. RMAC Men's Indoor Track Academic Athlete of the Year Ryder Tam wins the 800. Carson Aberlay is the 400-meter winner, and Jonathan Wright, the RMAC champ in the 400, wins the 200 on this day in a time of 22.02. The UCCS track and field team had an unforgettable trip to Africa last year. The UCCS Mountain Lions got to see some real lions in Kenya and visited a place that produces some of the best runners the world has ever seen. But that was only part of this trip. Members of the UCCS track team run in a remote village in Kenya.
Every 4 years, the NCAA is allows a team to take all their athletes on an international trip. And of course, Kenya is home of some of the best distance runners in the world. You know, I mean, they have an amazing history of distance running. But also, we wanted to make it a bit of a service trip.
Luke Dakin is a senior on the UCCS track team. He would become instrumental in forming the Harambee Foundation.
We were actually really inspired by the people we met there and the kids who were there. They just had a very positive attitude despite very limited resources.
Mark Mish is the Mountain Lions head men's track coach. He set up the trip for his team to visit Kenya last year. They soon discovered the biggest needs were at the local school that the children from the orphanage attended.
We sat down with the headmaster at the time and he said, hey, what can we do here? And thinking that the needs would be electricity, water, other things like that that could help. And instead, it was just people. And so the guys were determined. We made a commitment. We figured out what it cost for a salary to pay a teacher. We came back and had a dinner night immediately, a Kenyan dinner night.
We'll go home, put on Kenyan dinner night, make some Kenyan food that we learned how to make for our friends and family, see what we can do. Well, in one night we raised over $4,500 and we were able to raise enough to pay for all these teachers for an entire year. Actually, at that night is really when we started to grow, because one of our pole vaulters pulled me aside and said, hey, you know what, we're all runners here, we're all athletes. We have all these running shoes, they're perfectly usable, but we buy new ones every 3 months because, the cushioning wears down and whatnot. But they're perfectly usable. Why don't we just start collecting all of our team's shoes and then we'll start sending it over to people in need.
Soon the used shoes were on their way to Africa, then used books. The next fundraiser was a line of coffee.
We partnered with some of the local farmers and we said, okay, we'll buy your beans, import them to the United States, sell them, and then we'll reinvest the proceeds back into the schools.
These guys have seen that how just a little bit of effort with something can really, it's like dominoes. It can make a lot of good things happen.
The athletic department here at UCCS is still fairly new compared to some other RMAC institutions. They just started athletics in the 1980s. Perhaps there's no bigger fan of the UCCS Mountain Lions than their chancellor, Dr. Pam Shockley-Zalabak. There has perhaps never been more excitement at UCCS than there was this year. The men's basketball team made a run to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history, and right in the middle of it, literally, is the chancellor.
Yes, I went on the buses. I certainly didn't drive. I was on the buses for all of the trips, and I intend to continue to do that. I think that's important because I'm excited. I'm a basketball fan, and I'm excited. I want them to be excited. It's part of a college experience.
Dr. Shockley-Zalabak has been the chancellor here for 13 years. She's overseen unprecedented changes on campus.
The campus is growing. We'll be over 11,000 students this fall. We're adding housing. We're doubling the size of our recreation center. We're adding office buildings. We're going to add a new visual and performing arts center. We really are in a period of time where more young people in southern Colorado and all over the state are coming here to go to school.
According to Shockley-Zalabak, the athletics program is helping the image of the university, especially in the classroom.
The fact that we received the Excellence Award, the President's Excellence Award, last year from the NCAA was very special to me because that's doing the right thing when you graduate over a 4-year period, when you have a 91 for graduation rate across all your teams, because I want our students to do well, and they are.
You can't go anywhere around the campus without seeing construction, and they're anticipating even more growth in the next 10 years.
I think we will be between 15 and 17,000 students on campus. I think we will see North Nevada with a wonderful visual and performing arts complex that also has community participation with partnerships in the community and the school district. So we'll see a very vibrant arts presence on North Nevada. And I'm proud of what we're accomplishing. And I think that's the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's are we preparing these people to do really productive things in our communities? And I think we are.
Still ahead on the showcase, the 700 Club for an RMAC baseball coach. Coming up next, the first RMAC Academic Player of the Year in basketball. See what he's up to now. This is the RMAC Showcase.